Unit 6 Biomechanics 6.4 Review and Feedback. After observing Duncan in 3 ways in relation to an experienced basketball player Harry and the rest of the team, I am now going to go through them all, looking at both his strengths and areas of improvement and offering ways to develop his weaknesses to improve his basketball overall. When giving feedback to someone, it is very important to think about the way in which you give the information that is needed, thinking about the emotions of the client and the language used to address the situation, as well as confidentiality. Feedback needs to include both positives as well as areas of improvement. These need to be constructive, followed by suggestions on how to improve. By giving SMART targets within feedback allows clients to be able to go away and work on those areas of improvement straight away. To help the client understand the feedback, making it evidence-based, so showing photos or videos, can help. When analysing data, it's important to think about factors influencing the client's performance. So this could be health, like have they been ill recently, or any medical conditions. Motivation, how motivated they were on the day and how well they are wanting to perform, and the enjoyment of that sport. The ability level, the age, the time of the day, so is it in the morning or is it in the afternoon, the confidence, the group dynamics, group cohesion, how well they get on as a group and how they can play as a team, the temperature and their diet. When giving future recommendations, it's also important to think about prioritising, so what needs to be addressed first. The team's skills and the drills they use, individual skill training, fitness training, so for example in rebounding, plyometrics and technique, coaching specific to the movement. This graph shows the comparison between an experienced basketball player Harry against a less experienced player Duncan in the position of a power forward. This graph shows the difference between their performance criteria as an overview. Looking in more detail at each performance criteria, for 2-point baskets, you can see from the graph that out of the 6 shots Duncan made, 0 went in. However, for Harry, out of the 7 attempted, 5 went in. This could be for a range of reasons, which we've explored already, but this could be things such as height. This shows the amount of steals performed by Duncan and Harry. You can see from the graph that Duncan performed 1, whereas Harry performed 4. The mean data of steals performed from the group was 1.9, showing that Duncan is just under average, meaning that this could be an area to improve on. Harry's score is also high above average, which causes the mean to be higher, which means that it pulls it all up, so compared to the rest of the group, Duncan could be scoring more. Turnovers. The total turnovers included during the game was 8. Out of this, Harry contributed 3, whereas Duncan didn't do any. This shows that Harry completed just under half of the turnovers, maybe suggesting that those at the same level as Duncan didn't know how to complete them or when to complete them, as well as them being a difficult skill to master. However, similar to the steals, Duncan is just under average of the turnovers performed. So, rebounding. The total amount of rebounds completed in the game were 24, meaning 14 being offensive and 10 being defensive. The mean of offensive rebounds was 2, and the mean of defensive rebounds was 1.4. This shows that more people prefer to rebound offensively than defensively. This might be due to gaining an advantage. Other factors that might affect rebounding could be things such as height. This shows that the taller players perform more defensive rebounds. This could be because they wanted to stop the defendants scoring more. It also shows that most of the offensive rebounds were performed by players who are at the lower range of the height. This be because they were able to dodge around defendants easier and get into an open space to score. Having put the data into the Pearson's product correlation graph, we gained an R value of minus 0.26. This indicated there was a minimal correlation, showing that there is no relationship between players competing offensive rebounds versus defensive rebounds, and there was no pattern shown. However, if the R value showed 1, this would have been showing the perfect correlation, like this one, suggesting that there was a relationship between offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding. This shows them the mean difference and the p-value. It helps to explain if the collected data is luck or natural variation. Looking at the mean data, you can see there is some differences, so I applied it to the t-test to see if it was noteworthy. Scoring a value of above 0.05 means that there is no significance. So looking at the results, you can see there is no significance, and the result as the results were above. No significance gives mathematical evidence. This graph shows the fluctuation is the same for both offensive and defensive rebound of 0.8, suggesting the spread is equal. However, the mean is higher in offensive rebounding. This could suggest that people were keener to rebound offensively in order to shoot and gain advantages. However, they are also not as strong as on boxing out. Could be another reason. Although we're able to predict and suggest the reasoning as to why we think the mean is higher for offensive rebound, there is no evidence to suggest why. However, Duncan was more willing to rebound defensively to offensively, unlike Harry, who was more likely to rebound offensively. This is supported by their schematic drawings, showing that their movement was more dominant in one half. So overall, Duncan was very strong in the defensive position. You were able to gain the ball by steals. This allowed your team to keep possession of the ball more. However, he needed to work on his 2-pointers due to the fact that he missed more than he scored. Yet he was still attempted to shoot, which is good, and you didn't achieve any turnovers. So here is showing the professional basket player conducting the preparation stage, and this is what is considered right. So Duncan also tried to perform this similar. Duncan is able to get into the load-wide stance and gain contact with his player so that he can focus on finding the ball rather than watching where his player is going, which is similar to the professional. However, when Duncan can see the ball coming, he leaves his opponent's sides to go get the ball, which, if in a competitive game, might mean that the opponent can get in a better position in front and steal the ball. However, what the professional does is stay close to the player until the ball is right at the right high point so he can jump and get it. Next phase is the execution phase. You can see that the professional is performing a V-like shape around the opponent. It needs to be tight with both arms touching so that you narrow the opponent's play and can feel if he moves away. From the photo you can see Duncan performing the phase. He's also able to do this. During this phase, locating of the ball is very vital, and you can see that the professional is able to do this and following the ball. Duncan is completing the box out, and once in the V shape and the ball is out, the basket is able to locate the ball. However, beforehand starts facing the wrong way, making it harder to locate the ball due to the fact that his natural eye line is the wrong way. So the final phase is the recovery. You can see from the photo that the professional keeps the ball tight and close to his body, and knows exactly where to be passing to, and they have turned away from the opponent, making a simple sharp pass out of the key. And we know that Duncan has made a pass, however crosses in front of the opponent, and has turned towards him, meaning that they could intercept and steal with ease. So strength was that he was able to get into a good load wise stance position, positioned correctly on the court, and is able to keep his focus. He is then able to form the V-like shape and locate the ball, and performs a recovery pass. However, he leaves the opponent's side, which could cause the other team to get the ball. There is no jump, and therefore the opponent could intercept, and he starts facing the wrong way, and he passes across the opponent. So these are all areas that could be worked on, and smart targets could be produced to make him improve them. So looking at these force graphs that are measured in FS, so this is the measurement of ground reaction force. So just talking you through the graph, the flat line is that both forces are equal, no net force, and the ground reaction force and weight. So then it dips. This is the bending of the knee. So ground reaction force is reduced, and you become unweighted. And the eccentric and control movement, trying to generate force, downward force. It then begins to go up, and this is the end of the eccentric contraction. And then it changes direction, so this is the concentric phase, so the shorter equaling more elastic recoil. The steep incline is the increasing of ground reaction force. Then the downward phase is gradual as you take off. The gradient tells you the speed of the jump. And then the flat line at the bottom is that there is no ground reaction force being measured on the force plate, as there is no contact due to the fact that they're jumping. So we can see the looking at them, we can see that Harry is able to generate we can see that Harry's jump is better. This could be for a number of reasons. One might be stabilitation, although Duncan's looks quite strong on that front. Another could be the speed of the jump. So Harry is able to generate more elastic recoiling, so and therefore jumping higher. Comparing Duncan to Harry, we can see that Harry had a larger jump height than Duncan. This could be down to the amount of impulse generated. A bigger impulse creates a larger force ending in a larger velocity, meaning a higher jump. As we can see from the table, Harry generated 1 1/5 more force than Duncan, ending in a better jump result. Therefore, if Duncan was to improve how much he could generate, how much force he could generate, he would end up with a better jump height. Looking at the whole group data, we can see where Duncan stands in relation to everyone else and not just the most experienced player. We can see from the collected data that Duncan had a larger impulse force than the average group, yet a below average jump height, suggesting other issues as to why his jump isn't as good as it could be. One being stabilitation. We can also see that his mass is above average, yet his height is under, suggesting that his mass and energy produced by diet also plays a role on how high he can jump, which is one factor that could influence a client's performance, mentioned earlier. This correlation graph shows the correlation between mass and jump height, and the results from the group and the table underneath shows that there was a significance due to the fact that it was below 0.05. Therefore, for this group of people and the people that were heavier jumped higher, maybe due to the fact that they had more muscles to generate a larger momentum. This correlation graph shows the relation between impulse and height. The table at the bottom shows values once applied to the t-test. The p-value showing 0.005, suggesting there is significance between your impulse created and your height. This could suggest as to why Duncan's impulse is why it is. So looking through the 3 ways of analysis, we were able to note what areas Duncan was strong at and what areas need improving. From that, I've selected 3 main areas of improvement that you'll be able to benefit from mainly within your play. This is force production, looking at your muscle power and ways to improve this to make you be able to jump higher, which can be used in other areas of basketball as well. The next area to be tackled is stabilitation, within boxing out to help prevent defenders get through and improve overall defensive skills within due to the fact you're stronger in defence and maybe playing in position of defence will be better for you. This could be improved by developing the flexibility within the hips as well as increasing strength within the quads. And the final area of improvement is increasing the tally of successful rebounds. The first smart target designed for Duncan is to increase his force production. This will help with his boxing out and in particular the jumping phase. In addition, this will also help generate help in general for a powerful position. Although Duncan's force production is above average in the group, for a power forward position this needs to be exceptionally high and used correctly. For example, in the jump phase of the box out. However, Duncan did not use his force production here wisely and therefore needs to be improved. One way in which Duncan can improve his force production is through plyometrics. It helps to develop his eccentric phase, amortization phase and concentric phase. The practical task that Duncan could complete to improve his force production is drop jumping. This exercise involves an athlete dropping, not jumping, to the ground from a raised platform or box and then immediately jumping up. The drop down gives the stretch to the leg muscles, the eccentric phase, and then the drive upwards, the secondary concentric contraction phase. Duncan can complete the drop jumping exercise twice a week, increasing the box size 3 times every session, but repeating the last box the first session the week after. The next smart target for Duncan is stabilitation to be increased. This will allow him to hold back defences easier when boxing out. By increasing his stability will allow him to generate more power for the jump. There are many ways to increase stability, but for Duncan we are going to focus on hip flexibility, strength of the quadricep muscles and core strength. I recommend Duncan attending the gym twice a week, working on his core, including exercises such as crunches, plank, bicycle, lunges with twists and leg lifts to increase his and to increase the intensity of the leg lifts to change to butterfly leg lifts. By increasing the strength in his quadricep muscles will also increase his stability due to the fact he will have a stronger base of support, preventing him being pushed over easier. To increase his leg strength, I recommend him completing some leg exercises in addition to his core workout. This could include lateral leg raises, forward lunges and squats with added weight if the exercises become too easy. The final way in which Duncan can increase his stability is to increase his hip flexibility. This could be done by adding a few more exercises into his gym workout, such as butterfly stitch, hip stretches, laying hip stretch, where you lay on your back and pull your leg towards your stomach, and kneeling hip stretch. These should all be completed at a high intensity at 3 sets or 15 reps. In 6 weeks, his stability will then be tested again, and then his program can be adapted to suit the results. The third smart target of Duncan's is to have a high success rate in rebounding. By the end of next season, Duncan's target is to be able to increase his success rate by 50% from this season. To keep this target achievable, by the end of each game, he will review his play and set shorter-term targets to keep him on track. Before prescribing a strategy to increase his rebounding, we firstly need to revisit the technique to make sure it is all correct. Once the technique is mastered, we need to build power and reaction time. To build power, every other day, Duncan needs to be focusing on explosive squat jumps, as he'll be should be working maximally, adding 5 more each week to keep progressing. This helps to build power in his legs and to be able to jump high to get the ball before the opponent. Duncan will also partake in rebounding drills, such as an example of this could be someone throwing the ball off the backboard, and then Duncan will jump up and catch the ball. To progress this further, the week after, a defendant will be added so that he has to compete for the ball. This makes the drill more like a game situation. The drill should be completed for 15 minutes every session at a medium to high intensity. After 5 weeks of completing these drills and and strategies, I will get together with Duncan to review how his targets has been going and look at the game results and adapt accordingly.